Topic of children is always acute, especially relationships between parents and children. As a matter of fact, every parent considers himself good and worthy, and every child believes that he's not getting enough. Either his parents didn't pay attention to him, or they put pressure on him. And later on, something doesn't work out in his life. So, like any person, when a child becomes an adult, he looks for the causes of his failures. Most often, children blame their parents. That's natural. However, as parents, we still try to give our children everything that depends on us. Not everyone. There are those who don't care if their children exist or not. Such people are absolutely irresponsible, but there are very few of them. The vast majority are actually caring parents who strive to improve their children's lives. Yet, why does everything concerning children always hook people quite strongly, especially parents? It's an acute topic, but what we have said is true. And a person who has strength inside himself and who is able to face the truth actually recognizes this. Meanwhile, again, many people hide behind the label, I'm a good parent. I do everything for my child. But if we look from the side, good parents take care of their child. They take care of his health, of how he looks, and what he eats. They take care of all aspects of his education, involve him in various clubs, develop him in sports, science, or arts, and the child develops comprehensively. But do we really give protection to our children? And what is a good parent and a bad parent? A caring and an uncaring one? This question is always delicate. Psychologists have written many works on this subject, and they have a lot of disputes. But again, from the standpoint of psychology and real life, these are totally opposite things. Life and psychology. Psychologists give advice, but they themselves have problems with their children. This happens far and wide. Unfortunately, we've seen it many times, but instead, they advise us on how to behave correctly with our child and how to properly educate and develop him. Sometimes parents have difficulties even with communication and elementary understanding. And what do we fail to understand? A simple question. We don't understand that even when a child is little, he's an individual, and he is the way he is, no matter how we influence his character. He will still be who he will be. This is really so. In one family with the same upbringing, equal care, and love, children may be the exact opposites. Why? A simple question. Well, because they are different. That's the whole point. Even if we provide the same education and absolutely the same care, two different individuals will grow up anyway, each with their own destiny and their own understanding of this world because they are children. However, on the other hand, our goal and task as parents is to teach them to distinguish the good from the bad, to teach them to behave in a good way and not to do bad if it is possible, to provide education and, if possible, to help them develop in various ways, including in sports, maybe in arts or in science, if a child has such an aptitude. Meanwhile, we often try to turn children into someone we are not, blaming our parents at that, although in reality, we simply, well, let's just say we were born like this. It's not that we were unlucky, but it's just our nature. Our genetics and our own laziness prevented us from developing those qualities which we need in adulthood. That's how the world is arranged. But we can change this when we already begin to be more self-aware in adulthood. And when we understand that something is missing in us, we can change. We can re-educate ourselves. It's all in our hands. We can even change our character and attitude to development, to people, to science, and to everything. We can do everything. However, while we are little, we are developing and exploring the world. And the role of parents is tremendous because it's extremely difficult for a child to grow up without parents. Especially those who grew up without parents, they understand this perfectly well. How difficult this is. Or when it's a single-parent family, when there is no father or mother. It's hard for a child. He feels deprived, especially when his friends have two-parent families, care, and material well-being. Then it's hard for such kids. But the question that you and I have raised actually has to do with something completely different. Here, I would distinguish the understanding of a good and a bad parent in the following way. A good parent is the one who really cares about the future of a human being, his child, not in the sense of who he will grow up to be, but in the sense that he will have such an opportunity at all. After all, indeed, very serious changes are taking place with the climate today, and we are not ready for that. We are not ready to admit as parents that our child has no future. Nowadays, many people try to develop their children in various ways, to provide them with good education, to develop them as athletes, those who see prospects and a future in sports, or, on the contrary, in science or in music. A child is being taught to play the piano or the violin so that he develops in every way. But I have a question. Yes, it's all good, of course, but the simple question is, tell me, in the face of the climate, in the face of the changes that are happening and escalating, and it's already clear to everyone that things will only aggravate in the near future. Who will have an advantage? Musicians or soccer players? I mean, really? Or will a child's knowledge of multiple languages save him from an earthquake in the rubble? Well, it's true, but we don't want to see that. We deny it. We deny what we cannot influence. There is a way out that gives us and our children a chance to survive in the near future, not sometime in 10,000 years.